So how can we get people motivated for that win? Like, what can we all do to help get there, help get everyone motivated, help get everyone on the same page? Like testing. Some people don't take it serious because they've taken it so long. They're just tired of it. Like I can say I am tired of it. But what can we do to help people take it more serious? And what can we learn? Like, how can we learn stuff that's just not for the PSSA? Like, how can we learn stuff that we're gonna like use, like really, and understand?
You know, really seeing how, I know there is so much of an emphasis on PSSA. And I do understand, as a student, you may, after grades 3 to 8 and then grade 11, get tired of hearing about it. But, there is some benefit to it. And the benefit is, if you are proficient in the PSSA in math and reading, what's the correlation between that and your SAT scores? What's the correlation between that and how well and successful you'll be when you go to college? The success rate of students not needing remedial help, going into college. What I've heard from local colleges, Penn State Berks was one, and also from RAC, is that when students get to their campus, that they need a lot of remedial work over the summer or maybe during their first year. Well, you can tie that into, well, let's look at how well we do on standardized testing. Our SAT scores have not improved greatly over the past couple of years, and the same goes well for your PSSA. So if you're looking at those two sets of data and then looking at how well kids are prepared when they get to college, there is a strong correlation there. So, what students have to focus on is, what do I need to do for myself to make myself better, so that when I get to college, I'm ready to go, and not look at the PSSA as here's another assessment. If I'm advanced in math on the PSSA, that could open up a lot of doors for me in terms of whatever I want to do with my life, engineering or whatever it may be. So, not looking at it as another test, but you are going to showcase your skills. What have you learned over 11 years throughout kindergarten, all the way up through elementary, middle school, high school? What have you learned? And where are you at compared to others? Because there's definitely a strong correlation when you start to look at test scores for PSSA, SAT, and then looking at your graduation percentage and all this other data, that if we start to move one area, the others will start to improve as well.
So how can you get your students, us, to understand that this is an opening, like the tests or this, you have to take them serious? Because no matter how many times the teacher says these tests are serious or it's count, no one cares. So how can you really make us understand, like this is what you need, this is what you need to get there?
To get students, once again, number one, to believe, but number two, take ownership. I shouldn't have to tell you and preach to you about how important this is. A student should be able to say, you know what, this is important to me because my name's attached to this. My name is attached to Reading High School. No matter what I do, my name is attached to Reading High School. I'm the principal there. So whatever I do, I have to give it 100% each and every day, because it's my reputation, it's part of my job, and it's also, for me, I want to be the best at anything I do. I don't want to come in second to anyone. And, I want to challenge Wyomissing and Schuylkill Valley and Twin Valley and all the other high schools that are doing well. So because I'm the leader here. So as a student, once again, I shouldn't have to do all these incentives and all these other things when your name is attached to your performance. So take ownership of your performance and say, you know what, this is what I've learned, and I'm going to show the state and everyone else that, you know what, I did get a good quality education while I was in the Reading School District, and now I'm getting ready to prove that to everyone when they take the assessment. So students have to learn to take ownership of themselves and also of their learning. It doesn't always have to be someone who has to constantly keep to motivate them. At some point in time, you have to be self-motivated, and that's one of the things that students at Reading High School are going to have to start to focus on. Take ownership of what you control.
I think that we here need to have more pride in our school because of all the negative stuff surrounding it in the community and everything, and everybody's outlooks on us. When someone says, where you go, I'm like, Reading High. I even say it in a negative way. I want to get it to be a more positive way. I want to be proud of where I came from. So how can how can we be proud of where we came from? Is it the test scores? Is it coming to school every day?
You know, I think a lot of it is, number one is, just like you said in your expression, yes, I go to Reading High School, is say it with pride. I go to Reading High School. And yes, we may not have A, B, and C, but you know what? We are coming together as a group to make ourselves better. And not, you know, now 3 months ago, if someone asked me what I did, I'd probably say I'm the principal of Reading High School. But now, you know, I can stand proudly and say I'm the principal of Reading High School, and you know, good, bad, or the other, you know what? I have kids that come in these doors each and every day. There are some who are doing an excellent job. There are some who need some help. But it's my job to figure out ways in terms of how I can help those students so that they can be successful. But I can set in terms of the reputation that we have at this school. I have an opportunity to change that. And as students, you have the opportunity to change that as well. I'm not going to say anything bad publicly about my school. I'm proud of where I'm a principal at. I'm proud that and I'm happy that I'm here. So I'm not going to go out into the community and say anything negative about my school. And that's what the students that attend Reading High School have to do as well. Be proud. Doesn't matter where you go. If you're going to a conference, if you're going to a game, wherever it may be proud of where you go. Stick your chest out and say, I am a student at Reading High School, and I'm proud of where I go. That's number one. Number two is we just need to improve in terms of where we're at. So, you know, is it realistic for us to go from 25% in math to 100% in 1 year? No, that's unrealistic. That probably won't happen. But, you know, if we go from 25% to 40% for our school, that's an accomplishment. So we have to shoot for small goals over a 3, 4, or 5 year period until we get to a point that, you know what, in 4 years we're graduating with the state is requiring, which is 85% of our students on time. So a lot of it is, the only way you change perception is you change your data. Once you change your data, then the whole community will feel better about where they're sending their children to go to school, and students will come here knowing that when they come to Reading High School, they are coming to school to showcase their skills and show that they're the best.
And you previously mentioned how some kids come in here. You have good kids that come in the door, and then kids that don't do as well as they should come in the door. But my thing is, they come in and they're coming here for a reason. And if they're not leaving learning anything new, what are the teachers doing wrong? What are they doing wrong? What's like the problem? Because some students do come here every day and don't learn anything, and they feel it's a waste of time, but they're here anyways. So while they're here, what can we do to help them?
You know, we really just have to focus on opportunities, and not every kid is going to learn at the same rate. Not every kid is going to be able to catch and learn material at the same rate as student A may. His learning style may be different from student B, and that's okay. What we have to do is make sure we provide safety nets for children, so that if student A doesn't get it this way, we can give it to him another way, and to make sure we don't allow him to fail. What can we do to support him or her? And it's really about providing safety nets for kids so that they can be successful. And some of our students need a lot of safety nets around them. You know, you talk about different factors in life. You know, one factor may be the school, another factor may be the community, another factor may be the environment, then you have the family, and then you have oneself. So if you have these 5 pieces, and if there's issues with any of the 5, you know, it makes it that much harder for that student to make it in life. And it doesn't matter where he goes to school, he or she goes to school. That's just reality. So if a student is having trouble at home, how do we provide a safety net here to make sure that that student can be able to get the remediation that he needs here and the help that he needs here to help him carry through? If there's issues in his community, his or her community, how do we provide some safety nets for that student so that he can be successful? If that student has a bad opinion of him or herself, how do we provide a safety net for that student to make him feel better about himself, to make him have confidence that he can learn, to make him have confidence that he or she can go to college and be successful? It's really about being able to identify a problem. Once you identify a problem You put a plan in place, and then you put support around that student to make him successful.
When you mentioned opportunity, the first thing that came to my mind was college. And realistically, not all students will go to college or technical schools or anything else. How can we help, like, try to get them to think, like, or try to get them to do their best so that they go to college? Like, some people compare themselves to other people. Not everybody is the same. We learn stuff that we may not need in our future. Like, a guy wants to go for cars, and why is he doing, like, AP astronomy or something like that? Like, what can he do to help with his career if he's not gonna go to college? Like, you know, do you get it?
Yeah, you know, it's and I know we do put a lot of emphasis on college, but it's more so about what's your plan for life. You know, what do I want to do with the rest of my life each and every day? If you want to go to CTC and become a mechanic, well, there are some mechanics who make $60 an hour. That's a pretty good living. It's more about what's my plan for life. So when you talk about post-secondary, it's more of talking about how do we make sure that every kid that graduates has a plan for life. There's nothing wrong with a young man or young woman being a carpenter or any job like that that's going to be able to have that young man or woman be able to support their family. So it's more about being able to make sure that we have productive citizens who, when they graduate, they have a plan in life and they're going to do something positive, and not the negative, which sometimes is too much of the focus, not just for Reading High School, but for the city of Reading. So it's more about the plan. What's my plan going to be for my life, and something that I enjoy doing each and every day.
And I think that plan comes from when you're younger, and you're constantly asked, like, what do you want to be, stuff like that. What do you want to be when you grow up? And like, if it's at home and they're not getting support or they're not getting noticed, and then you come here and you just don't care, and it's like what is this teacher telling me? Like, you're telling me I can go to college? Like, I've never heard that before. It can be kind of scary for some people. Like, what can we do to help get them understand? Is that what part of what you just said?
Yeah, and also getting students to also to understand that, yes, you know, for myself, my you know, my mother and father raised me, and my mother was a school teacher, and you know, for me it was there were no options. You had one option. You know, when you graduated from high school, you were going to school. You know, now my father didn't graduate from high school, from high school or from college, but you know, he had a great job. So, but more about the principles that just life, in terms of saying, you know what, you are going to make sure, and we're going to make sure that you make something of your life. And you know, I owe a lot to my mother and my father in terms of, you know, how they raised me. But if that was not there, there were other people who were willing to step to the plate and who were willing to say, you know, Eric, you're not going to just throw your life away. So sometimes I don't think adults understand how much power they have in terms of being able to influence the life of a young individual. You know, there are a lot of people who I've associated with growing up that, you know, had a positive impact on my life that was not my mother or father, and who really, you know, I had two great uncles who really, you know, they were two who were not going to watch me fail either. So, and I had two or three teachers who they weren't going to let me fail. So, you know, as a teacher, as an educator, you know, someone in the community, they can have an impact on the life of a child. So, you know, once again, it was tapping into that resource, and that's why it's going to be very key for us when we bring that mentor program here to Reading High School, that we bring people who've been through the struggle that some of our kids go through, who they will be able to relate to and be able to say, hey, you know what? You did it. Maybe I can do it too. You know, it's okay to be the first in your family to graduate from high school. Nothing wrong with that. It's okay to be the first in your family to go to college. There's nothing wrong with that as well.